filling in for me. What a wonderful blessing he is. You know, when days I have to go and travel and do other things, Carl always hold the fort down. So I want all of you guys, if you listen to Carl when you was listening to the show last time, the gentleman's name was Carl Jackson, if you forgot, go follow him on social media. You can go to his website at Carl Jackson, thecarljacksonshow.com. thecarljacksonshow.com. He posts regularly on his social media, especially Instagram. That's where I see most of his posts. You can also follow him on Twitter. So, and he has a podcast. So make sure y'all go to thecarljacksonshow.com and check Carl Jackson's work out. Let's talk about the shooting that happened in Nashville at the private school. Right now, according to the information that I have, I don't have any indication of the motive of this young person. According to reports, it was a female, looked like she was around school age. I think it just came out. My producer was telling me that she was a former student at the school, which it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that, given the fact that she went into the school through a side door. She automatically went to the second floor and began shooting. When I see something like that, what it tells me is that it's personal. It tells me that it's somebody that's familiar with the school. Because if you're just going in to do a random shooting, you bust in the door and then you're just shooting the first people you see. In many cases, people like that are not effective, thank God, because they don't know the layout of the school. They don't know if they're going during the break or not. But somebody that's gone to the school, picked the appropriate time that they know they're going to catch the people that they want to catch. It appears that it was about 6 adults shot and killed. 3 adults shot and killed, 3 children shot and killed. And the speed of response of the police officers were absolutely astonishing. I can't believe it. From the time the call came out, which was around 12, I think it was like 12:13 or something like that, and they were able to eliminate the threat at about 12:27. It took them about 14 minutes to completely eliminate the threat in an active school shooting. Now, that's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because there was a tremendous response, not like Uvalde, where it took them an hour or so to get into the school, and it was a lot more of a complicated situation. Seeing officers be able to respond quickly and eliminate the threat on the second floor was very impressive, given the fact they didn't know where the shooter was. They were clearing the first floor, heard some shots, they went up to the second floor and eliminated the threat. Now, I will say this. Why is it that we are still going through this today? You will never stop a person from getting a gun. You ain't going to stop it. I don't care who you think you are. Unless you're Jesus Christ of Nazareth, you're not going to stop people from getting a gun. They can get a gun stolen. They can legally buy a gun, then go crazy. And all of the guns that are circulating in the market right now in the United States of America, you cannot ban AR-15s and think that the guns are not going to be circulating for a significant amount of time after you ban the firearms. So what can we do? We don't know which school will be next. We don't know who's going to crack up today or tomorrow. So what should we do? As easy as the noonday sun, we should have police officers present on campus. How is that difficult? We should lock the door of the school. How is it that difficult? Those two things being put into place will save the lives of students and children who are left unarmed in the school. Look at Uvalde. Imagine if they would have locked the doors in Uvalde. And most people remember Uvalde. Imagine if they would have locked the doors like they're supposed to. Just lock the door. Then imagine if the doors were not locked and they had a police officer actually on campus. Think about the death toll being mitigated by a tremendous factor. I would argue that nobody probably would have died at Uvalde if they had a police officer that was on campus that can confront the suspect face one-on-one, not trying to confront a suspect with a door barricaded and getting shot at through the walls. I mean, now you've created a situation where it's a lot more difficult to combat. And I just want us to understand that, because I think we have a solution to the problem, but we have too many people that are cowardice and they don't want to step up and do what's right. The easy thing to do is to blame the gun. The easy thing to do is to blame politicians. The hard thing to do is to raise your kids right. The second hardest thing to do is for us to be able to manage these people in the mental health system. I guarantee you this young lady who went into school, they said, with 2 assault-style weapons, which I don't know what the flying flip that is. What is an assault-style weapon? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. But anyway, 2 assault-style weapons and a handgun. I guarantee you that this young person wasn't a Rhodes Scholar and decided to come back and pay the school a visit because she loved it so much. I guarantee you this was a troubled student, bullied student, and this student had something against somebody at the school, to where they enter into a side door, go upstairs, and ended up killing 3 teachers and 3 students. That to me, that was a targeted thing by this young person. And so I honestly believe that the 2 hard things I already mentioned, the parenting, the mental health, and then securing the schools. That's like the third. Let me put it in the camera so you can see it. That's like the third hard thing. These 3 hard things will essentially eliminate or mitigate this ever happening. Banning guns ain't going to stop anything. It's not going to stop anything, because we're going to have to go and revisit the question. You're going to say, well, how did this young person get their hands on a gun? Probably because she was over 21, potentially. You don't need to be 21 to carry an AR-15, but probably because she was over 21 to get a handgun. She may have been of age enough to save enough money to buy a gun. How do you stop that from happening? Because you can be sane. Nobody turned her in. Nobody mentioned she was nutty. Nobody mentioned that she had been bullied and had made suicidal or homicidal ideations. Nobody mentioned it whatsoever. Therefore, she can't be checked, and therefore she can't be stopped from purchasing a firearm to go and commit murder. But I really wish that we would have an honest conversation and stop beating around the bush and being silly all the time. These politicians, I don't want to hear them speak. I want to hear parents speak. The parents should speak. The students should speak. The teachers should speak. And the politicians should respond, because their job is not to somehow arbitrarily come up with ideas. You are a representative of what the people want. And in this particular situation, somebody needs to have leadership and be able to protect those young people. Because if we don't protect them, who's going to protect them? If we don't have law enforcement at the school, who's going to protect the kids? They can't carry guns. The teachers can't carry guns. And law enforcement, it took them 10 minutes. If this young girl wanted to mass shoot the school up, she could have killed way more people than 6 people. She must have not been attempting to kill a lot of people. She could have killed way more than 6, because it took them 10 minutes. Now, 10 minutes is extremely fast in a circumstance like this, but 10 minutes, bro. I want y'all to understand, I've probably been talking for about 10 minutes. You see how long that is? That's a long time for somebody to have free reign, unobstructed in a school with high-powered weapons. And I'm assuming a good amount of ammo. So we need to really figure this out. And I don't think it takes much out of the budget to get a few officers at the school. Make sure you lock the doors, follow protocol on and in and out of season. These are the things that I think that we should be focused on. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have my earpiece in, so how much time do I have? Okay, I got 40 seconds. See, I almost got it down to a T. But we'll continue this conversation, because obviously it's interesting that it's a female suspect. And normally females don't engage in conduct like this. So I'm interested to see, as information come out, what was the background of this young lady and why did she do such a tremendous or horrendous crime against children at an elementary school. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hold the phone. I'll be back after the break. I think this is probably going to be One of my last reads for the mypillow.com, I think it's very simple, very clear. We need police officers at the school. We need the doors to be locked. When circumstances and situations have presented themselves in schools where they follow protocol, a very minimal amount of carnage, and the suspect is typically dead within minutes. Same thing happened in South Oak Cliff. I think it was they were in a summer camp or something of that nature, and the suspect came in and tried to shoot up the summer camp at the gymnasium. He came through the front, and the receptionist started busting caps. Wasn't even talking, just started busting. So they get into a shootout right there at the reception desk. So the suspect runs out of the entryway, tries to go through a door, couldn't get in the door. Why? Because the door was locked. And then the police officer showed up shortly after that, and smoked him like a brisket. So to me, that was a very simplistic way to protect the kids. Arm the teachers, have somebody armed, have police respond, make sure the doors are locked, and everybody live to see another day. Let me say this, because I know that there's people that are that may want to give a little pushback when it comes to arming teachers. I don't understand. Let me just say this. I'm not going to be superfluous. I understand why some people have concerns. I think that those concerns are rooted in ignorance. It's not negative. It's just the ignorant, mean not knowing or maybe not thinking this through. If you have a teacher with a gun to bring a gun to school, obviously you should train the teacher, right? There's a level of training you have to go through, courses you have to go through, and certification you have to be able to carry a gun. And I don't think any of the students need to know that you carry a gun. It just needs to be something that the teachers know and the principal know. The kids don't need to know. Therefore, when they come shoot up the school, they don't know who got a gun and who don't have a gun. Now, I'll add this. And people act like, well, the teacher have a gun on campus now. What if they act up? Well, the teacher can bring a gun on campus just like the kids bring a gun on campus. How you going to stop them? There ain't no metal detector. There's not no invisible force field that says, well, the teacher don't have permission to bring a gun on campus, so if they brought the gun, they definitely can't shoot nobody because they didn't have permission in the first place. Man, if a teacher wanted to shoot up the school, they just bring a gun on campus like the kids do. There ain't no metal detectors. It's a gun-free zone. Ain't nobody got a gun but the teacher that want to go postal. So if you were worried about a teacher shooting up the school, it would be better for you to have another teacher with a gun that can stop that teacher. And I think this is the way we should be conducting it. And I would love to hear a person disagree with me. I believe that you're wrong, but I'm open-minded at a great explanation. All right, let me move on to Donald Trump indictment. The question is, do you think that Donald Trump being indicted is going to hurt or help his campaign? I honestly believe that Trump